Cam Club. Such good care about this one. We're proud of this rhino here.
The Newfoundland Hobbyist is sponsored by Mid-Island Motorsports, located in Springdale, Newfoundland. www.edgeproinc.com. By the Sea Inn and Cafe, located in Kings Point. And Outdoor Pros, located in Mount Pearl, Newfoundland.
Good morning, my friends. Welcome to another episode of the Newfoundland Hobbyist. You can see here, I'm in our great Newfoundland woods this morning. Just started walking. I'm going to walk for a couple minutes, and this amount of snow. I haven't been out in the woods for a cook for a little bit now, but the amount of snow is unreal. Just a lot of parts right to my waist, even with a nice pair of snowshoes on. It's just so soft. We've gotten so much in the last little bit, and it's been so cold, everything's so dry that there's no density to it, so you just set right through it. But I am trying to head down through here and see if I can get out on a bit of bear and a bit of burn over down here where I'd like to have my breakfast. It's going to end up being more like brunch. It's a little bit later in the morning before I headed out. But I'm just passing here a couple of beautiful birch trees with, check out this birch. Just the biggest beautiful slabs of birch. So I'm gonna gather as much as I can get here, see if that'll help us later in case we have any trouble getting the fire going. I hope you guys enjoy this episode. Just a quick note, anytime I'm out like this trying to get somewhere and I do come across a nice birch with some slabs hanging off like this, I'll usually stop and grab it, because you never know the perfect spot where you might want to set up your camp or your little fire ground may not have any birch or may not have a good source of tinder, something to get the fire going with. So why not grab it on the way when it's there? Another thing to note, man, just look at the slabs. Another thing to note, and I want to point out I see often, is I'm in the woods and I'll see a birch that's pretty much dead, and I'll see these big slits and these deep peels of the birch bark. So when you're out in the woods like that, you definitely don't want to be taking your knife and stripping into the tree and taking off big strips, because that is the bark, that is the birch tree's protection from the elements, the same as like a spruce would have that coarse, gnarly, like black gray kind of bark. So you don't want to strip them down, just take off the dead hanging stuff. That's stuff that's dead anyways, it'll just rot or blow off. So just a little pointer. Let's see if we can get down over this hill without drowning in snow here. Getting down that hill wasn't too bad. I followed, I picked up a moose trail coming down through the hill, and came right down through here. Some moose droppings around through this little basin here. And I haven't seen a bed here. I was expecting to see a moose bed here somewhere, because it's kind of a sheltered in, nice little spot down at the bottom of the hill. But nothing yet. Lots of tracks, lots of droppings, but this ends up being a beautiful spot for me to have my breakfast. Still getting lots of sunlight coming in there, but I'm not getting that wind off the burn over down below. There's lots of beautiful trees here. There's some deadfalls that I can access. There is some birch. So had I not ran into some birch along the way, I would have been able to get some, but I'll use what I have here now and probably peel some of the dead stuff off the ones around me to take home for the next trip. So beautiful. I even found a nice big rock here that I cleaned off, put down some boughs, put my snowshoes on top of that, and I have a nice seat. So now I'm going to get to work building a fire here. It's a beautiful morning, but there is a little bit of breeze outside, and it is down. It's been down like around minus 12, minus 15 for an entire week now. That's just standing temperature, and today it's about the same, down around minus 12, minus 15. But when that sun gets pounding and there's no wind, it really feels nice. So let's get working on a fire. For those who have been watching on the channel a while, you'll know that I have an extensive axe collection. My axe of choice for today is the Gransfors Brooks Small Forest Axe. The beautiful little axe, I believe it's a 21-inch handle. If you're looking for a gorgeous axe, an heirloom tool, this is one right here. This is a beautiful piece. Swedish steel, Swedish made, still got the factory handle. Just beautiful, nice and light, very thin profile. It's a nice axe. Now one of my pieces of kit I'm carrying today are these ferro rods that I developed. And that is, it's a stabilized wood handle with a 1/2-inch ferro rod. Beautiful, beautiful piece of ferro rod, retained with a piece of shock cord. And you can see they're in their own leather sheaths, so keep that nice and safe. And you have a lot of fires worth of striking right there. Now let's get some of our pocketed birch here. The nice thing about birch is that it doesn't matter if you waste it, because there's basically an unlimited supply. If this doesn't do it, I'll get some off the trees around me, but that is some nice birch. We'll have no trouble getting the fire going with that. Then we have our ferro rod. You can see the size of it there. And to be striking that ferro rod, we have, for the first time, my own custom. If you haven't seen this one yet, if you haven't seen it, you can head over to YouTube, search my name, Kyle Noseworthy, and you'll find a 2-part build series where we built this beautiful thing. Ferro rods come with a glossy painted coating to stop corrosion, so you'll need a few strikes. You can see that glimmer of light there to scrape that coating off. You can see the first few strikes there, it's not really casting any sparks, But once you get that coating off, she starts to work. So let's see here. See if we can make this happen quickly. Let's put some small, those real fine pieces of birch, those fine ends. Let's get them even smaller here. Let's take a few small strands. The smaller they are, the easier they catch the spark. There we go.
The Newfoundland Hobbyist is sponsored by hfattps.com, Noble's Timber Mart with locations in Springdale and Bayvert, wildmedkits.ca, Robinson's General Store located in Middle Arm, and ABS Busing, also located in Middle Arm, Newfoundland.
Now to start things off today, we have a beautiful, beautiful steak here. Beautiful piece of beef that's been sitting in seasoning since earlier this morning. Let's just have a look and let's get this thing out. We can't say start warming up to room temperature because it's well down in the minuses out, but look at that beautiful steak. Let's get our cast iron on there. Now that steak is seasoned with Newfoundland seasoning, steak and burger spice. This is a good spice. If you haven't tried Newfoundland seasoning products, they make some amazing stuff. They're, what is the moose one? I can't remember the name of it now, but it is amazing. This one's awesome as well. I've tried pretty much all of them and they are incredible. So I highly recommend. They have a website, they have a Facebook page, but Newfoundland Seasonings, those of you from Newfoundland, go and support your own. They do ship, so if you're international or you're elsewhere in Canada, check out that website and get yourself some. You will not be disappointed with the flavors of these. Let's get some extra virgin olive oil in that pan. Oh, listen to the sound of that cast iron. Oh. That's a thick steak, so I'm going to get a little bit more seasoning on there. Now we'll see how this looks. A steak this thick is difficult to cook because the outside is burnt and charred and everything before the inside sometimes gets cooked. But have a look at that. That is just perfect for me. Just beautifully pink on the inside. Nice black charred outside. Remember that beautiful seasoning? Oh boy. How do you like that color? Do you like it redder? Do you like it about that? Do you like it cooked way more? Here we go, first test with that Newfoundland steak spice on there. Oh my goodness. That is easily one of the best steaks I've ever had. Just the perfect amount of seasoning. That thick of a piece of meat. It's tough again because you only have the seasoning on the outside. Unless you inject it or something, are you going to get it salt enough? So it's a tough balance. Oh, that is unreal. Unreal. Let's try with a bit of onion and jalapeno pepper there. Ooh, she's boiling. We've picked up the lousy square tea bags. I find that shape gives me headaches. Something about the square shape, I guess. Now, as if that dinner couldn't get any better, I get to finish it off with a nice tea and a couple of Mom's molasses buns here. She makes the best molasses buns that ever were made. Just delicious. Whew. Pop. My grandfather Noseworthy used to say is that's 3 hot, or 3 hot, instead of 2 hot. That's 3 hot. I guess that was a level above 2. Well, my food and tea are almost gone, my fire is almost burnt out, and I am ready to go home and see my girls. If any of you are looking for extra content, you'd like to see extra projects and things that you won't see here on television, head over to YouTube, search my name, Kyle Noseworthy, and you will find hundreds and hundreds of videos. I also have an online store and a website with lots of information. That's www.kylenoseworthy.com. So you can check out that. There's even some things there for you to buy in case you didn't know. So thank you guys so much for watching this episode. I have had a wonderful morning. I have had a wonderful season filming this show. Thank you all so much. You guys who have come up to me when I've been out of town and have been in stores and have been grocery shopping and doing different things. You guys who have ran up and shook my hand and introduced yourselves and said hello and said you watched my show. I appreciate that so much. I appreciate you guys for watching. That is the whole reason we're producing this show, for an audience like yourself. So I really thank you for that. Big thank you to my sponsors. Again, with those guys, the show becomes practical. It becomes possible. So I can't thank those enough. And if you can, if in any way possible, you can support them. Some of them are online businesses. You can shop that way. Some of them are local businesses that you might be able to take advantage of. I would appreciate that, and I'm sure they would as well. Make sure you keep tuning in to the Newfoundland Hobbyists.